welcome everybody to round number 5 of the F1 season, and today we are here for the British Grand Prix. But before we get into the race itself, we've got a lot of news to break down heading into this event. First things first, Sky Sports have announced that Verstappen has missed the opening DTM race. Now, this was something that just came completely out of the blue, as Verstappen was missing from that opening race. We then managed to get into contact with Max Verstappen, and he says that he never even signed for DTM in the first place and is completely confused about the whole situation. He first of all thought that it was just a bit of a troll from Sky Sports in the first place, said just to give them some form of publicity and something to actually just report on as a bit of a joke. Then he realised that this was actually true and that he was in the lineup for DTM to drive for BMW, who have concentrated all of their focus on BMW. Verstappen then has tried to get in contact with his agent and couldn't get anywhere. With that being in mind, everyone else, including ourselves, tried to get a hold of his agent, and again, no one could get hold of Verstappen's agent. So what on earth has happened is it looks like from the outset, is because we can't obviously hear from Verstappen's agent himself, is that Verstappen's agent has gone ahead and cancelled his deals with Formula 1, signed him up for DTM without him even realising, and then just completely going off into the dust and costing Max a drive in Formula 1. Now here's the interesting part. Max Verstappen's agent, he's also sharing that with Lando Norris, or Lando Norris is partnered with the same agent. And as you would imagine, that's also causing some chaos because Lando Norris as well has had issues with his contract. Of course, he was set to sign with BMW with Formula 1. BMW then pulled out. Obviously, Williams came into the fray. Then all of a sudden, Norris is now all of a sudden stuck at Williams. It's all starting to turn into a circle, and both Verstappen and Norris have really been thrown over the wall with this one, and this is not going to blow over quickly. This is going to go on for a very, very long time, and until we really know where Verstappen's agent is at, or Verstappen and Norris's agent is at, we really can't digress any further what's going on with all of this. It just leaves it completely up in the air, and it just goes to show that Max Verstappen didn't leave Formula 1, which we all thought was the biggest shock anyway. He was actually forced out of Formula 1 by something that wasn't to do with him. And now we're going to go and have a look at the race news itself then. Now, first things first, Ferrari and Mercedes have got the edge over McLaren. In the practice programs with the long runs and also the qualifying performances, it seemed like Ferrari and Mercedes just had that couple of extra tenths per second a lap over McLaren, which they will be taking to their advantage and hoping for a great race. But the plus side for McLaren is that they won't be seeing any threat from Red Bull because by the looks of it, they are well off the pace here at Silverstone. It seems that the high-speed circuit is really costing them as the Aston Martin engine is just not up to scratch at all, and it's really costing them valuable amounts of pace. Finally, Daniel Ricciardo is once again feeling really happy with his Renault. Daniel Ricciardo has seen a very strong start to his season, consistently being up there trying to fight off with the likes of the Red Bulls and the McLarens, especially when they've not been on their strongest days, and has been doing a great job at fending off the threat of Porsche and Audi. And again, he feels very comfortable with his car and is ready to hopefully put on a great show for the British crowd. Without further ado, let's get into round number 5 for the British Grand Prix. Yo, what's going on guys, it is Foxy298 here and welcome back to a brand new video for you guys today here on the channel. Today we're here for round number 5, it is the British Grand Prix. Hopefully you guys are having a great day. If you are enjoying today's video and you do enjoy it, obviously please feel free to drop a like on the video. And obviously we're trying to aim for the 50 likes that we're constantly trying to set ourselves. And obviously if you're watching this video and you've not yet subscribed to the channel, be sure to do so. It's completely free and it helps me out a lot. So yeah, I appreciate that. Anyway, as you can see, we're moving on into qualifying. And as you can see, I straight away am changing my assists around because I was messing around doing some testing on the game, and I forgot to change it back over to having braking assist off and then having anti-lock brakes on. So that's what we're doing, and we're getting things ready for qualifying. Overall, the pace was not looking that good, and you can already see we're trying to warm up our tyres a little bit. We're not doing the best of jobs, as you can see, we're just going nice and slowly. And I tried to let Lando Norris go through here behind me, and he ran into the back of my rear wing, and I got a 5-place grid penalty for it. So yeah, that's the most annoying way to start off this session. So straight away here, at Silverstone. We're at a disadvantage, and now we need to try and press on with it and try and make that disadvantage our advantage. Moving on to my second lap then, and we're around about, I think it's 9/10 up at this point here, and we go P7 then, 1.3 seconds off the pace, and I was just overall really struggling to just find performance. And it was very, very difficult. And for some reason, this track in particular was the most screen freeze-fested track I've ever been on. Obviously, back on F1 2018, the screen freezes were pretty classic. Yeah, Silverstone was another measure. But I was trying really hard to push for another lap. Got what's it called? The exit of the corner completely wrong, and I spun out and lost my rear wing. So I accidentally nearly clicked restart session, but nope, we're just going to retire from session. Unfortunately, not good enough. Really, really scrappy qualifying right from the start. You know, we weren't with it, and we just didn't get anything hooked up. So it's going to be P10, but obviously with the 5-place grid penalty that we get for having an incident with Norris, we're going to start P15. Not the session that we wanted. Not that Hamilton wanted either. He's going to start P12. Norris starts P19, or will start last, because he also got a 5-place grid penalty for the collision with myself, which makes no sense. Why did we both get a penalty for the incident? Surely there's one person at fault, or you could just say no. But never mind. We're going to get on with it then. So we are starting P15 then. This is going to be a compromised Grand Prix. But let's see what we can do then. We've got 5 red lights, and it is lights out. Here we go here to start the British Grand Prix off in style. Hopefully, one of the Audi cars there looks like Butler. Looks like he got away very, very nicely. We're going to go towards the outside for turn 1. That's going to swoop for the inside then for turn 2. We get past the fourth there of Pierre Gasly. In fact, Gasly's going to storm it down the inside. Does Pierre, really going for it there, as we're now trying to fend off one of the Porsche cars of Pascal Wehrlein. Wehrlein just about gets in front of us, and also trying to attack the Audi of Devon Butler. Meanwhile, we're now trying to find our way past Pierre Gasly, shoving wide on the exit, and we're up into 12th place. That's 3 places gained off the start. Not a bad start to this Grand Prix as Butler and Wehrlein going at it now as we try and get a switchback line here on Devon Butler. A little bit of a screen freeze though mid-apex there has really put us off as Hamilton now tries to come at us, but we've managed to defend against the McLaren driver, and now we're trying to accelerate more and get on with it. And yeah, know what? Why not have another screen freeze? Love them. But as you can see, that really didn't help us out. And now we're under pressure from Lewis Hamilton down the straight here. And we're going to go in towards Stoke Corner, but we just about managed to defend from Lewis Hamilton. And there's a little bit of a gaggle of cars just directly in front of us here. As Hamilton, will he have a look in the Belgian chicane? No, just too far back to really try anything as we now exit through there. Fernando Alonso leads the British Grand Prix then as we are stuck behind these gaggle of cars. And we're just going to see if we can find the best spot to get past them all. As Hamilton, though, looks like he might just have a run in towards the first corner. Not quite. Too far back on that occasion. But obviously with the DRS being in 3 zones here at Silverstone, of course, in 2019 there wasn't 3, but in 2018 there were 3. So we kind of have to deal with that. Now we're trying to see if we can find our way through. I believe it is Wehrlein, but I think it's both the Audis and both of the Porsche cars that are fighting each other. And then you've got myself and Hamilton, who are out of position in this Grand Prix. You could probably say, actually, to be honest, only really Hamilton is out of position in this race, because in terms of the pace, well, you can clearly see at the moment, it's not quite there yet. We're not really hooking up our car around this circuit, and we're just trying our best, mostly defending against Hamilton, and we're closing up to the pack now in front of us. That's because they're just bunched up and they're doing a domino effect of braking. But luckily for us here, we do have DRS, so we can stick in it. But Hamilton's got DRS on me, and his car is just way, way faster in a straight line compared to me. He's going to go for it around the outside, but we fend that one off quite nicely, and we shut the door on him. Job done. We can carry on our way here as we now drop the fuel mixture back down, trying to work on that a little bit. I might have overfueled the car. It's actually, oh, okay, so it's actually Vettel that's leading this queue of cars. So it's both of the Porsches of Rosberg and Wehrlein, Butler, and my teammate Vettel. Okay, now that I didn't quite realise there. As Hamilton, though, is going to have another attack on us, though, in towards turn 1, but we fend off Hamilton in towards the first corner. Lovely piece of defending there, and we're staying in front of Lewis Hamilton, just trying to find our way through on these cars here. Lap 5 of the Grand Prix now. Back end steps out on us a little bit there as we're trying to close up to Devon Butler, but you can just see how fast they are and just how much they really pull away here. And this has been such a weakness of this car all year. And as long as we can try and hopefully see if we can get an engine upgrade from Aston Martin, I don't think we're going to get very far as we now go through in towards Maggots and Beckett's. Now we're carrying back on here on lap 6, and now we've closed up to a lot more gaggle of cars here. But on this occasion, I've done it again. That's the 3rd time in 5 races I've whacked my front wing off, and that's back to back, because I'm pretty sure the last race was Canada and this race was Silverstone, and once again the domino effect of braking has caught me out. and I got to change my front wing. Yeah, I don't really have anything else to say about that. I just get... There's sometimes when you see all those cars and they break, like in a domino braking effect because they were so close to each other. There's so many times when it works out amazing for you and you gain like 4 or 5 places. And there's so many times when you do it and you just don't realise. And clearly there, we went into the back of them, which is something that I really need to learn on. It's definitely more prominent in 2018. And I really need to work on my reactions, especially if there's going to be sudden stops like that. I really need to make sure that I'm not putting myself in that situation. But we're going on to the medium compound tyres. We've got a new front wing. We're going to the end of the race. And it's just a recovery drive for us, really. Just seeing if we can even grab a point. We weren't even in the points anyway when we were fighting. And now we're plumb last. And yeah, my race has gone from meh to ugh. So let's try and see what we can do then. So lap 11 of the Grand Prix now. You can see a couple of drivers are coming in now for their first and their one and only stops in this race there. One of the back marker cars going on the blue hard tyres, which is quite unusual. And remember, Silverstone was the only track that had the blue hard tyres, which was funny. Lap 13 of the Grand Prix though. You can see though, look, we're only 2.5 seconds behind Lewis Hamilton. Now remember, Hamilton was the guy directly behind me and fighting with me that whole time period. So really... we haven't lost out that much. What we're going to do now is, whilst I'm on my recovery drive, we're going to go and have a little look at the field and just see where all of the scraps have been coming from, because we've been looking at myself. So sit back and relax. Because I am plumb last, you won't really be able to see anything from me because I'm just going to be working my way up the grid. So, my teammate Vettel was at the front of this queue that we were fighting at earlier, and you can see that him and Rosberg going side by side there in towards Kops. They're really going for it now as they go towards Maggots and Beckett's now, and Rosberg does indeed take the place there. So a great bit of overtaking as Sam there is attacking the Mercedes, and George Russell gets the position there. Russell will get DRS on the exit. Sam's going to be under pressure now as he gets the slipstream coming on through here. Charles Leclerc though is going to have the DRS as well and goes towards the inside on Sam into Stowe corner. Now he's trying to fight with George Russell in towards Stowe, and that's going to be a great double over if he can make it work, but I don't think on this occasion he's going to be able to. As you can see there, my teammate Vettel still at the front of that pack. I was just trying to see what he was up to as Charles Leclerc now trying to fight even harder with George Russell. Russell looks like he's got the position there, but just sort of slows off a little bit. Leclerc gives him a whack on the exit, and now that's going to cost him some critical time. In fact, Sam's going to lose that more than anything. Ocon's going to gain loads here. He goes past Sam. Now around the outside of Russell into 2. Ocon gets the position and gets 2 places. Phenomenal job there from the Renault driver, and that's him now up into, I believe that's 4th place now. This battle is for P3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, as Sam now is under pressure from Ricciardo, so the Renault cars definitely getting on with it in this race, as Sam there is trying to blast off into the distance, as Vettel now is getting in on the act. You can see there's my car behind, so at this stage of the race I haven't actually crashed yet, but what you can see is this is how all of the gaggle of cars got very, very close to each other. Because they were scrapping so much, they of course had all of these issues. Here comes Ocon now fighting through with George Russell in the midst of it. Through Maggots and Beckett's they go. Very, very close stuff, but George Russell comes out on top. Meanwhile, at the front, the Fernando Alonso and Reese are starting to pull away. And in fact, Alonso is going to come at Reese here. So Reese at some point in this race has got past Fernando Alonso, but Alonso comes back at Reese now in towards Stowe corner. And that is a great piece of fighting in towards the Vale chicane now. Bit of contact there between the Mercedes and the Ferrari. They're really going at it now in this stage of the Grand Prix, and Fernando Alonso, as he looks to, no, he's not got the position. So on that occasion we saw Russell lose out in that format. On that occasion Reese gained the position on that one, as Russell there learned from his mistake last time and shoves Sam completely off the track now, as we see the McLaren driver flying through now in towards the first corner and staying in front. Esteban Ocon's race has been going great so far, not so much anymore because he's now got double DRS attack here from Russell and Sam. Very close to contact there from the pair of them, as Sam now is trying to make a double overtake work. Of course, Russell was in front of him, and it looks like on that occasion he might just about have done it here as they now go through in towards the final chicane. Sam is just about ahead and just creeps ahead and stays there. So Sam getting a beautiful set of moves going on here. He is going to be under pressure though, because the rest of the cars now will have DRS on the pitch straight, flying their way through. Sam stays in front. Ocon though repasses George Russell, and there is the humongous amount of cars there flying their way through. Now, meanwhile, back at the front, Fernando Alonso's going for yet another attack on Reis. In towards Stowe corner they go. Alonso takes the position, and that is him now up into the lead of the Grand Prix. But Reis once again will come and try and fight this one as they go now down in towards the final chicane. Once again, can Alonso this time get a run? Bit of contact again from these two cars now, and that time Fernando Alonso gets the inside line, retakes the lead of the British Grand Prix, and that was to delight the Spanish crowd there that have come to Silverstone to cheer him on. Meanwhile, though, just look at everyone fighting at the moment. It's just a shame that I'm not in it because I crashed because I'm a moron. As Rosberg now tries to get his way through my teammate Vettel, who's trying to be the sole man to help Red Bull in what's not really been a good race for us so far. Rosberg tries to go around the inside. Now Sebastian Vettel is going to try and dive his way back down the inside, retake the place that he lost just a second ago now, but Rosberg is going to get DRS. Vettel should get DRS as well here. He does so they're both going to get it, but of course Rosberg is faster in a straight line thanks to that Porsche, and now he's going to try and fly his way on through, but Vettel somehow manages to go through the middle of Pascal Wehrlein and also Rosberg. Rosberg loses out. He's lost out to Vettel, lost out to Wehrlein and Hamilton as well, so 3 places lost there for Nico Rosberg. As George Russell now just up ahead is trying to fight with Esteban Ocon now in this race, as Russell sees if he goes towards the inside line in towards Cops corner. He just about doesn't quite make the move stick, and he's trying to just stick with him through Maggots and Beckett, but Ricciardo fancies going for it through Maggots and Beckett and going side by side. He wouldn't mind that at all with Daniel Ricciardo, and all the way through now the two of them go side by side, and Daniel Ricciardo takes the place from George Russell. Fantastic bit of scrap in there between the pair of them now as Ricciardo carries on his way. Meanwhile, back at the front of the race, oh look, Reis has re-overtaken Fernando Alonso again. I was too busy trying to get shots from other places on the grid. Alonso there really nearly goes into the back of Reis there, and you can see that the top 4 now are starting to break away. We've got Alonso and Reis here who are scrapping really hard as Reis now retakes the position from Fernando Alonso there, so great defending from Reis. We've got Reis and Alonso fighting hard up front. Then we've got Charles Leclerc in a lonely P3 and then Sam in a lonely P4 for McLaren. So right now, you can see there's the order there, as Alonso this time with the DRS looks like he's got a bit more engine modes given to him on that occasion, gets himself through, and he is now back up into the race lead for this British Grand Prix until Reis is going to come again and have some more fun with him. So Reis goes towards the outside line of Stowe corner, and obviously you're pretty much sure that the fans will be cheering on Reis in this race. Of course, Reis being British and Fernando Alonso being Spanish, you really want your homegrown favourites to win here, and there are plenty of them on the grid as the Renault cars now go into battle here. You can see this is where they've made their stops as well in the Grand Prix. You can tell because they're now on the white stripe medium tyres, and as they go through in towards the final chicane here, you can see that Daniel Ricciardo is just about going to get the position, but Ocon fends around the outside and actually manages to carry a bit more speed through there. Good defending from Ocon as his teammate Ricciardo is really trying to find a way through here, and now Ricciardo, he had a little look there, and on that occasion it just didn't work out for him. He has to stay behind a little bit longer, but now as they go through towards Maggots and Beckett, this is where we could see some fighting going on between Ricciardo and Ocon as they go now and flying through here, and the two Renaults have made contact. Ricciardo and Ocon have come together, and that has caused a virtual safety car here on lap 13 of the Grand Prix, and as I now start making my way through, there's Esteban Ocon just in front of me. So in terms of an update on where I am here on lap 13 of 26, I am currently in P13, but that is not going to go down well with Cyril Abiteboul. He is going to be furious as we now move on with Ricciardo here. Round the outside, he goes on George Russell. Lovely overtake there. Oh, that was very close between Ricciardo and George Russell, and now they try and make their way through, and we're just having a little scroll through the order, seeing where all of the cars are at. As you can see now, Alonso and Reis are still fighting. These guys have been going at it from lights out, and might just be doing this all the way to the flag as Alonso goes around the outside of Stowe corner, repasses Reis for the 100th time in this Grand Prix, and Reis loses out a little bit on that occasion as we see there Sam running in P4, and now Reis once again has decided he wants to come back at Fernando Alonso. It's almost like they're saving fuel and ERS, just being behind each other and then just blitzing their way through. Reis now goes through on the inside of Stowe and retakes the lead of the British Grand Prix. And are we going to see lead change number 1 million? Probably not. I don't actually know at this stage because they've been fighting so much, but as we can see now, Reis there is going to have to do a little bit more defending probably, as there goes Ricciardo on the inside of George Russell, and now we've got that's Nico Rosberg going down the inside of Devon Butler in the Audi. So a bit of attacking stuff going on here from this train of cars as Russell is still trying to fight with Daniel Ricciardo. These two have been going at it all race long. There's been some personal battles and rivalries, bit of contact there as well between all of these drivers. Russell and Ricciardo have been going at it. Reese and Alonso have been going at it. I've been at the back, not really doing anything. Speaking of Reese and Alonso, in towards Copse Corner they go. Fernando Alonso tries to go around the inside of Reese. Now in towards Maggots and Beckett's they go. This is some great racing here. Alonso comes out on top, but Reese will be behind in the DRS detection zone. Will get that DRS now down this straight. Now he'll have an opportunity to repay the favour of Alonso's sensational overtake and just get a very plain and simple one by just using DRS and straight line speed. Doesn't look like he's got the engine mode though on that occasion. Going in towards the inside and Stowe Corner. Will Alonso try and hold it around the outside? He will do on this occasion. Fernando really showing that he's not lost any of the characteristics that he had when he took his sabbatical from Formula 1, and he's come back with a vengeance here as Reese now tries to find a way past Fernando Alonso, barges his way through on the inside of Club Corner, and that is him up back into the lead of the British Grand Prix. Russell once again having a look as Butler now goes down the inside of Nico Rosberg there, and that's him now up into what is P7 in this Grand Prix. So some good fighting going on now, and although Rosberg actually is still there in this fight, so not Rosberg not giving up just yet, and now unfortunately Vettel and Hamilton are now going to try and come at them. So there's a squad of 4 cars here that are already going for it, and obviously remember Hamilton was the car in front of me in the Grand Prix. They are pulling away from me, just as an update. These 4 cars are my next target, but they are pulling away from me. But the more that they fight, the more that they are going to start homing into my view and giving me a chance to fight them off, and that's what we want to do. But we're just focusing now on my teammate Vettel, who's really trying here. He got past Lewis Hamilton earlier on. That was my car there in the back, in the shot there, just at the back. So we are still trying to get this one as Rosberg goes down the inside there of Devon Butler. Hamilton can't find a way past my teammate Vettel, so that's not worked out for him. Reese, meanwhile, is trying to go around the outside of Fernando Alonso. This time, they've stopped doing their overtakes in their normal places, and they're doing it in some other spots. But crucially, look at Charles Leclerc in the second Ferrari, and also Sam in the McLaren. They are both catching Reese and Alonso quite quickly here, as these two continue to scrap through towards Copse Corner now. The two of them are just going to go for it. Reese goes down the inside, and Reed takes the lead, and that is a great overtake there, trying to get a bit of revenge for what Fernando Alonso did earlier on, and he's fighting this red car like he is absolutely desperate for it, and I'm pretty sure he is desperate for a race win. That Ferrari took it incredibly dirty there in this Grand Prix. Alonso, though, like Reese did last time, is going to get the DRS. It's going to come back at him now towards Stowe Corner. Towards the outside line he goes, and that is his overtake done and dusted. Back up into the lead you go. But Leclerc is the crucial one in here. He might just be able to play some tactics. Speaking of Charles Leclerc, caught up to the back of this here, so this is going to be some fun now for Reese to have to deal with. He probably would have wanted to have his teammate George Russell involved in this fight, but unfortunately for him, he has to go at it alone. And here goes Reese now with the defect over the attack, should I say, on Fernando Alonso, but Alonso fends off the position very nicely there. Reese has to slot himself back down into second place. Leclerc is in third, and here we're going to see George Russell there passing Daniel Ricciardo. So that's how far back George Russell is as we go back on board with Reese now. Tries to go down the inside here in towards Copse Corner. Looks like Reese has actually just has lost a front wing end plate there. So Reese has got damage now on his front wing. That's really going to cost him a horrible amount of time here, and in fact it has cost him a horrible amount of time, because now he's lost the position to Charles Leclerc. It's a 1-2 for Ferrari, so somewhere in there Reese has lost his end plate. I never actually caught that on the camera. I thought Reese was just naturally going slowly here. Now Charles Leclerc is going to try and overtake Fernando Alonso and nick the lead of this Grand Prix, in which he's barely even been involved with. And Charles Leclerc is going to take it here, but Alonso will hold on and stick to his guns and fight this one out. This is going to terrify everyone back at Maranello, because they just want to get the race victory. They don't want to throw it away by fighting too hard that they crash each other out. So close there. Alonso will get DRS on the pitch straight. Reese has got it as well, but he's going to be pretty much out of the picture here if he's got that broken front wing end plate. Alonso holds on to the position in there, but Charles Leclerc will come back in towards Copse Corner. Charles Leclerc tries to go for it there, and it's side by side now towards Maggots and Beckett's we go with the two Ferrari cars. Charles Leclerc looks like he's just in front. Alonso tries to fight it off. Now he tries to go through Maggots and Beckett side by side. Leclerc's now got the inside line, but Alonso holds it around the outside, taking the position there. Alonso gets the DRS as well from it. Sam, meanwhile, has overtaken Reese, who's dropping backwards now with that damage. Leclerc, though, is going to come at Alonso, but but Fernando's got DRS here, so it's now a Ferrari 1-2. Mercedes have lost the podium place here because Reis has lost out with his end plate damage, and now as they go through in towards the final chicane, Alonso and Leclerc really going for this one now as they fight it on through, but Sam now is getting close in on the act here. Alonso's going to lose out to Leclerc. He might even lose to Sam here. Sam's going to come out of nowhere now in the McLaren and take it up the inside. Sam goes for it and gets second place for McLaren in this Grand Prix. Onto lap 23 of the Grand Prix though. We are in P11. We are one place shy of scoring points in this Grand Prix, and up in front of me is P10, P9 and P8. Vettel, Rosberg, Hamilton. Let's go and let's see if we can try and get them. I've been doing everything I can to close up onto this gaggle of cars. It's taken me a very long time. In fact, 11 laps to get onto the back end here now as Vettel, Hamilton and Rosberg going for it in towards the first corner. Rosberg and Hamilton going for it into the first corner. We're going to go around the outside of both Vettel and also Lewis Hamilton. A sensational double overtake there from ourselves to go around the outside of the first corner of Vettel and also Hamilton. I tell you what, I had my fists clenched and I had my bum clenched at that point. Every possible piece of my body that could be clenched was clenched in that attack versus Vettel and Hamilton. That was sensational driving there, and that is us up into 9th place now, and we're not done yet because Rosberg is just there. If we can stick with him throughout the entirety of this lap, we could try and steal P8. If I can get in front of Rosberg, we knew how much I fended off Lewis Hamilton at the start of the race, and I managed to stay in front of him, get in front of Rosberg and face him as well, then I can do it. Hamilton tries to go for me in towards Kopp's corner, not going to let him do that on that occasion. Now on the end of Magnus and Beckett's, we've got a great run through here. Rich mixture, we're going to use everything we've got power-wise to pass our way through the Porsche car of Nico Rosberg. 8th place is ours, fend off the inside line, covering it off, and that's us now up yet another position and scoring points as it stands in this race. Now we're going to have to go into lean and no ERS and do everything we can to save fuel and to save everything. And here's a replay of that double overtake. Just swoop around the outside of Vettel, swoop in through on Hamilton. I have no idea how I managed to make that stick, but we made it stick, and that was absolutely amazing, and I loved it. Now on to lap 25 of the Grand Prix, carrying back on from where we were here. Rosberg now has got an opportunity. DRS is going to be active in towards the first corner, take the inside line, fend that one off, and through we go on Nico Rosberg. They lose a little bit of time, and we're dropping the ERS right down. Lap 25 to start lap 26. My front left is now completely knackered. It's on 70%. Hamilton has found his way past Nico Rosberg. Now he's going to have a second bite of the cherry to try and pass me here, but it doesn't work on that occasion. Hamilton there doesn't manage to get the place. Sam, meanwhile, has taken the race win for the British Grand Prix. He was just behind Charles Leclerc. He managed to make the move on Fernando Alonso, so somewhere in that, Sam's gone ahead and just nicked the race win for McLaren. Meanwhile, for us, though, we're still facing off against Hamilton here in this battle, and now we just about managed to fend him off in towards the final chicane. Hamilton tries to have a look, but we cover the inside line. We do everything we can in this Grand Prix. It's been an amazing Grand Prix, all up and down the grid, and somehow we've come home in P8 in this Grand Prix. What an amazing British Grand Prix. It wasn't a great finish for us. We only finished in P8, but overall it was great. However, let's go and see what happened at the front. This is the final lap of the Grand Prix. Sam has got DRS. He goes for it down the inside on Charles Leclerc. He gets the DRS, makes it work into Stowe corner, and that was that. There was no more laps to go. This was the final lap, and Sam managed to take it here. We ride on board with the McLaren driver. He's going to pick up his first win of the season, and there it is. He took the win on the final lap, and he stole it away from the Ferraris right at the very end, and you can see how close that race turned out to be. Sam wins his first Grand Prix for McLaren, and in fact, for the British Grand Prix, it was pretty much all the Brits lining themselves up in this race, and it was the Briton of Sam that won here today. Charles Leclerc finishes second in the Ferrari. He was only 0.4 of a second off, and in fact, Alonso in P3 was only 0.8 of a second off. That's how close that race was, and it was an incredible race at the front. Reis will be gutted to finish down in P4 after fighting for the lead the whole Grand Prix, and Daniel Ricciardo finishes in 5th place, a mere 16 seconds off. It was very close actually between Daniel Ricciardo and George Russell. We saw them fighting a lot as well, and Russell finishes in P6, just 0.4 behind. 7th was Devon Butler, and then finishing in 8th obviously was myself, ahead of Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg, and again, only 0.6 covers us three. So overall, it was a race in which loads of teams and drivers were very closely matched and just right up each other throughout the entirety of the Grand Prix. Moving on then into the Drivers' Championship, and as we can see, there's now been a change at the top of the championship. Charles Leclerc is now the World Driver Championship leader. He is on 80 points and is ahead of myself, who's on 72 points. He has taken 16 points out of us in total, I think, today, and he is now in front of us, or 15 points, one or the other. Sam, with that race win, has now propelled himself up into third in the championship, ahead of George Russell, with Daniel Ricciardo sitting nicely in P5, ahead of Reese in P6. Pascal Wehrlein in the Porsche, still doing a great job, is 7th in the championship, ahead of Valtteri Bottas in the Audi. He'll be hoping to try and keep that position free in P8, with Fernando Alonso in P9 and Sebastian Vettel in P10. And as you can see, it's very, very close at the championship. Myself and Leclerc, pretty close. Sam in a little bit of a world of his own. Same with George Russell. And then from Daniel Ricciardo down to Fernando Alonso, the gap is just 15 points. And if any driver has a strong weekend the following time around, they could really catapult themselves right up the order. Moving on then into the Constructors' Championship, and once again a new change has happened at the top of the Constructors' Championship. Ferrari have now taken the lead of the championship. We're on 111 points. Aston Martin Red Bull are now on 92 points and are tied with Mercedes-Benz. However, Aston Martin Red Bull have had, of course, race victories. Mercedes have not. McLaren, meanwhile, have pulled themselves right up into the mix. They're on 73 points now and have pulled away comfortably from Renault, Porsche and Audi, who are in a little bit of a fight of their own. Renault are on 51 points, with Porsche on 45 points and Audi are on 44 points. Jaguar again still have that crucial point in the championship versus Ford and Williams. Now we're going to go into the post-race notebook and have a look at what the teams and drivers have had to say after this Grand Prix. First things first, let's go ahead and have a look at Sam. Now, he has stated that it is a dream come true to win the home Grand Prix. Obviously, Sam was pretty much in a world of his own throughout the entirety of the race, but somehow he managed to come along, especially when the top three really started fighting. He knew that they were fighting up front, and he decided to give it his all, and he just went for it, and he managed to steal the win on the last lap. And that really did frustrate both Ferrari and Mercedes, who were really frustrated that McLaren managed to steal the race win today. Ferrari and Mercedes overall did have the pace over McLaren, and we saw it in the race. We saw Alonso and Reese really scrapping it out at the front of the field, with Leclerc just sitting in a lonely P3, with Sam even further back in P4. But as they continued to fight and started fighting and costing each other time is the crucial thing in all of that, that's when obviously it all came downhill for them and McLaren took it over. And finally, Tom does admit that he thought he was going to have a horrendous crash when he performed that double overtake on Sebastian Vettel and Lewis Hamilton. He said that was probably the best overtake that he's ever done in Formula 1. However, it doesn't shy away from the fact that he says that it's been an awful race weekend and one that he needs to look at and find all of the negatives to turn into positives, ready for the next round. But there we go, guys. That is going to be it for the F1 journey. Round number 5 here for the British Grand Prix. Next time round, we're off to the Styrian Mountains for the Austrian Grand Prix. Hopefully you guys can tune in and watch that next episode. And until then, I will see you next time. Take care all. Peace.